There's this quote by T.S. Eliot where he says, "We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all of our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time." Well, this is our return to the Alabama Rubicon. So we are on our way to Talladega, Alabama, or as many of us in the South call it, the Alabama Rubicon. The first time I ran this was 2 years ago, and we haven't returned since. And when I went last time, it was just me and my son. And this time, I'm taking the whole family. We are celebrating my wife on Mother's Day, and so we are taking her there so that she can experience it as well. It's such a beautiful place. I mean, it's not a long trip. You can run it in like 2 days, which is why we're actually just doing one overnight trip here. If we had a little bit longer time, then we would go even further north, and there's some areas up there as well that I haven't yet explored, but I know that I want to come back to. But I am excited to go to this one and kind of see how far I've come in the last 2 years in regards to having gear and also what I know now about hitting trails. It's only going to be me and one other person, so this actually does kind of test my abilities a little bit, since I'm the one that's going to be leading this trail. Praying that we have a safe trip, praying that the vehicle makes it okay, and that we have an amazing time for Mother's Day. This trail is a lot more gnarly than it was 2 years ago. A lot more erosion, so it's become a little bit more of a challenge. We are gonna try to find a spot where we can maybe camp up here, and if not, we're gonna go down to the ground, down the mountain, and camp down there somewhere, but we'll see. So sometimes the best things, right? Like, I had this plan hoping that we can maybe find a campsite here on the cliff, but I was told that we couldn't do that anymore. But then when we got here, we found that you can. There are people that are camping here, and in fact there's even a fire pit that looks like it was just used like last night, and it all worked out because no one is here and we were able to pull up. I mean, check this out. So a lot can happen in 2 years. And looking back, 2 years ago when I was really first starting to learn about off-roading, overlanding, all this stuff, from what I know now to what I knew back then, it's immense. The first time I came here, I knew that I had to come back at some point. This is, to me, one of the most perfect places you can go to do what we love in the South. Like, you get these mountain views like this. You also get somewhat challenging trails. I mean, there are some washouts, there are some crazy, gnarly kind of just dips. I know that there are places where people have really built out rigs to hit certain obstacles that I know I don't have the skill for. But for what I know how to do, and not being the hold my beer kind of guy, this is like just perfect. Man, so what a blessing to be able to camp here. This has been a bucket list of mine forever, because I've been here before, I've seen this view, but I'm like, man, I would love to get the vehicle up there and camp, and now we have the opportunity to do that. This should be a really interesting night. Tomorrow, it's gonna be a little bit weird kind of getting off this, because it's sketchy coming down on one side. It's also sketchy coming down on the other side because of the way it dips in certain areas. In fact, it's not even as level here where I had to use the Max Tracks to get ourselves as level as possible. Is still not even like the best, but it's good enough. Another thing too is we get to actually test out this brand new ice coat. I mean, this thing is nice. A huge upgrade from the JP50 that I had before. This is a JP50 Pro, and I love it because it can open from either side. This looks a lot nicer, a lot sleeker, nice color, simple enough branding. We're gonna do a deep dive on this fridge when I get back home, and I'll let you guys know how it was doing here. So we're here at camp. We got Alana. Hi, Alana. Got Mark. Aislinn. This is her first time overlanding. How do you like it?
Hello.
It's all right.
It was good. I feel like I'm gonna be sore because I was so tense and stressed
Oh, driving.
but it was fun. It was fun.
That was your first time on the trail.
Yeah, and I think it
we
got
saw.
easier as I went. I got more confident and comfortable. It was fun.
Well, we did solve your problem. We have a bathroom.
Yes.
That's because Jessica needs to have her bathroom. Or else. And then I showed you guys up there. There's a guy with a Tacoma, and his name is Josh. He came down here with his son, right?
Yeah.
You want to go show me your rig? Let's go take a look at it, man. Because he has the GFC camper. So we're going to go check it out because he has the full setup. And if I had a pickup truck, I would probably go that route. Yeah, that thing's sweet, bro. I love their setup. You can go right inside. That's nice, man. They did a really good job. I mean, look at this. And you get the view. I mean, the view, it's like, I'm telling you, this place kills. You know, if Mark would have kept his Tacoma, he could have had this kind of setup
Not with the two.
too, but
I've never made it up here.
Tacoma was the first one up here. Before this is the Forerunner's first time up.
yeah. That dude definitely has a nicer view than what we have, but it's squishier. We wouldn't be able to fit all of our stuff here. We have more room on this site, but he definitely has a much nicer view. Nice vehicle too. So I'm totally not sponsored, but I've been using the Blackbeard fire kit for a while, and this thing always never fails to start fires. It's pretty dope. Every time, every single time. So last night we were sitting around the fire and I was telling my friend Mark, I said, you know, I would rather be doing this. Like, this is my favorite part, just sitting around the fire with some friends. I could do this the entire time. And he said, yeah, but this is the payoff. He's absolutely right. Like, that wouldn't have been as rewarding if prior to we didn't put ourselves through the anxiety of making it through some of these obstacles and going through some of these trails that can get really gnarly and we're white knuckle driving, and then you get to places like this and you get to just let all that adrenaline out in front of the fire with some friends. You know, going through the trails, hitting water crossings, rock crawling, wheeling, those are the type of things that's really going to test your knowledge on off-roading. Those are the things that you're either going to run away from or you're going to face head on and learn some things. And this is one of those trips where I don't have the safety net of more experienced people like I usually do. People like John Burkmeyer and Danon Coleman and Brad DeRue, those guys who I run trails and go overlanding with, they've been doing this way longer than me. They know what they're doing when we hit these trails. And this is the first time where, okay, it's my turn to be the one to go through this and find the lines. And there's something about that, because I'm going to leave here knowing way more compared to when I first came here 2 years ago. Last night before I went to bed, I played the video that I made 2 years ago, the last time I was here, and just listening to that guy, the 2 year younger guy, and it was just kind of wild to me that, like, what I knew then versus what I know now. Not that I know everything. You're not going to go through 2 years without having learned nothing. And crazy too is some of the things I believed then are still the same things I believe now. I still believe it's not about the gear. I still believe it's not about like having all the cool stuff. It's about the experiences. It's about being around people that we love and we admire, and people that we can laugh with and just share these kind of adventures with. And this is definitely an adventure. So we left camp and made a quick detour to Chinubi, something falls, which we checked out last time we were here, but now I want to show these guys. It's a pretty nice waterfall, definitely worth checking out, because not everything has to be in vehicles. So I'm recording this segment midway through our trip. We still have a couple of trails we need to hit before we head home this afternoon. But by the time you're seeing this part of the video already, two things could have already happened. Either we made it out unscathed and got home okay, or some crazy thing happened. Maybe somebody got stuck. Or worse, maybe somebody's vehicle got damaged. Or worse, maybe somebody's vehicle broke down. And sometimes stories like that is what makes the video better, right? Like that becomes the centralized theme of whatever video we're producing. Or maybe this became the exact trip that I had been dreaming of for the last couple of years, where we come back to the Rubicon, the Alabama Rubicon, hit these trails with much beefier vehicles and much more prepared vehicles, but then also being able to camp at the spot that I've been wanting to camp at since I first saw this place. From the moment I stepped onto this cliffside 2 years ago, I knew that at some point I wanted it to be here, and somehow or the other we got up here, didn't think that we were going to be able to camp here, and then we realized that we could. And I was so filled with joy, and I knew, like, wow, this trip is going as planned so far. And maybe nothing crazy happened. Maybe by the time you're seeing this, we're sitting at home chilling. But you know, there's a story there too. It doesn't have to be eventful. It could just be a beautiful story filled with awesome people, awesome experiences, awesome adventures. And you know, that's enough. I'd be happy to go home with that, because that's enough.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.